セガサターン
セガサターンが満を持して送る娯楽超大作完成
もう許さない。
ドラマチックアドベンチャー桜大戦
Sega had been the birth of many of gaming's most memorable franchises. Wonder Boy, Sonic, Streets of Rage, Shining Force, Phantasy Star, Daytona USA, Virtua Fighter, just to name a handful. By the mid-90s, Sega made its mark on the home console market with its Sega Genesis. It wasn't as financially successful as the Super Nintendo, but Sega still influenced the way games are perceived and how games could be played. As Sega was getting ready to launch its next console, the Sega Saturn, Sega needed a new franchise that could be considered a mascot for their new console. Oji Hiroi, co-creator of the manga series Samurai Crusader, anime like the Madoking Grand Zord series, and creator of the Tengai Makio role-playing video game series, began developing what would become Sakura Wars in 1990, after seeing a stage adaptation of the 1984 musical film Shanghai Rhapsody. 3 years later, he would collaborate on the Tengai Makio OVA with the composer who would end up working with Hiroi on Sakura Wars, Kohei Tanaka. Tanaka studied music at Boston, Massachusetts Berklee College of Music, before working on Sakura Wars, which would be Tanaka's first video game score. He was a prolific composer for anime TV shows, OVAs, and movies. Some of his most notable works include the original Dragon Ball, Patlabor, Mobile Fighter G Gundam, Gundam 08 MS Team, and arguably his most popular contributions, Gunbuster and One Piece. After impressing Hiroi with Tanaka's work on the Tengai Makio OVA, Tanaka was requested to work with Hiroi on his then 3-year project known only at the time as Sakura. The early concepts that made it to the final product include the story being set in an alternate historical setting where steampunk technology was commonplace, the gameplay featuring mecha combat, and the story having a female lead. Development of the initial concepts inspired the creation of tabletop role-playing games based around Hiroi's ideas for Sakura. As he started to come up with ideas on how to implement his gameplay ideas, the Fire Emblem series started to take off in Japan. As a result, Hiroi wanted his game to have the same kind of strategy combat elements as Fire Emblem did. After years of ideas and concept development, he was ready to pitch Sakura to video game developers. At the time, however, no one was interested. Discouraged by the lack of interest in his project, Oji Hiroi set aside his Sakura project for the time being. It wasn't until Shoichiro Irimajiri, then vice president of Sega, expressed interest in Hiroi's project as it could provide Sega with a new and unique intellectual property to help make the Sega Saturn stand out. Irimajiri was impressed with Hiroi's resume as a creator and was able to make a convincing pitch to have Hiroi produce Sakura, later becoming Sakura Wars, for Sega. Sakura Wars would be developed by Red Company, Hiroi's game development studio, the same studio that developed Tengai Makio. After development of Sakura Wars expanded with the deal with Sega, more prominent anime personnel were signed onto the project. Kosuke Fujishima served as the character designer for the game. Fujishima got his start in the anime industry as the author and illustrator for the series You're Under Arrest and Oh My Goddess. He would also gain his first character design experience for a video game with his work on the 1995 Super Famicom RPG Tales of Phantasia. Satoru Akahori was the primary scriptwriter, which also included all of the branching dialogue. His experience in the anime industry includes Video Girl I, Tekman Blade, Sorcerer Hunters, and Saber Marionette J. Tokyo Movie Shinsha, now known as TMS Entertainment, was responsible for the game's animated cutscenes. The studio has been in the anime industry since the 70s, working on anime like Lupin, Cat's Eye, Magic Knight Rayearth, and so many others. TMS Entertainment has also done animation for Western cartoons from DiC Entertainment, Disney Television, and Warner Brothers Animation. They were also the studio that worked on Hiroi's Tengai Makio OVA. And then there was the matter of giving the cast of this ambitious project voices. The main cast, the Combat Review, were cast with both acting and singing abilities in mind. Those performers were Urara Tanaka, Mayumi Tanaka, Yuriko Fujizaki, Kumiko Nishihara, Michi Tomizawa, and Chisa Yokoyama. Originally, Yokoyama was cast as Iris, while Nishihara was cast as Sakura. But after hearing Nishihara, it was decided that she play Iris while Yokoyama plays Sakura. Akio Tsuyama was cast as the main playable character, Ichiro Ogami. Tsuyama at the time was not a well-known voice actor, only being cast in small roles. But due to Hiroi's budget decreasing, and Tsuyama offering to take on the role while training to be a voice actor under Hiroi's Red Company, Hiroi accepted. It was unusual at the time for the characters to be cast before most of the game development had been completed, but it was necessary to help the music bring the game to life.
I'm Luigi, number 1.
Kohei Tanaka was one of the first people to support Oji Hiroi while developing the game. Hiroi and Tanaka worked closely together to create a soundtrack that would educate the Japanese youth of music that was popular before the 90s, while simultaneously providing music that would be appropriate to the setting of the game, a fictional version of the Taisho period, which lasted from July 1912 to December 1926. The development of the game's soundtrack also helped in the development of the game's story. The opening theme, Geki Teikoku Kageki Dan, was performed by Sakura's vocalist Chisa Yokoyama. Recording the song was tough for Yokoyama, as it required different variations in tone and the strength in vocals to match the mood of the song. Each of the game's ending scenarios, which are given to you depending on who you bond with throughout the game, uses an image song performed by the seiyuu of the Combat Review's respective members. Sakura Wars was released in Japan for the Sega Saturn in September 1996, followed by releases on the Dreamcast in 1999, the PC in 2000, a 3D remake of the game in 2002 for the PlayStation 2, and PlayStation Portable in 2006. The original Sakura Wars was never released outside of Japan, but in 2019, an English fan translation of the Sega Saturn version was released, unofficially making it the first time English-speaking audiences were able to experience the game without having to worry about translating any of the dialogue themselves. Sakura Wars would continue to be a flagship franchise for Sega, and Oji Hiroi would continue to work on the franchise. The latest release in the series was in Japan in 2019, also titled Sakura Wars, for the PlayStation 4. The new Sakura Wars was only the second to be officially released outside of Japan, with the first being the 2005 Sakura Wars So Long My Love. The 2019 Sakura Wars was also the first not to be developed by Red Entertainment, and Oji Hiroi's only involvement with the game was writing the lyrics for the game's main theme, which was a new version of Geki Teikoku Kageki Dan. In 1996, Sakura Wars was released after 6 years of concept planning. 25 years later, Sakura Wars would be one of Sega's memorable franchises, developing animated shows, stage plays, crossovers with other Sega games, and most importantly, games in the main entry series.
Optic blast!